Hey Internet, welcome to another episode of Lons TV. Just to open up, I just figured this out. After seeing marketing about this for weeks, I just figured out what's actually going on with this new Diddy Dirty Money group thing. So it's Diddy, and he's got a group of ladies, two ladies, and he's calling them Dirty Money. So now the new album is being released by Diddy Dirty Money. That's ridiculous. That's idiotic. He's supposed to be a branding expert. It's Diddy with Dirty Money, or Diddy featuring Dirty Money, or Diddy and Dirty Money. Not just Diddy Dirty Money. That doesn't make any sense. It's not Gladys Knight Pips or Velvet Nico Underground. It's like there's two entities here, Diddy and Dirty Money, and you have to separate them in some way with an article so that we know what the relationship is between Diddy and Dirty Money. Also, I'm sure I've seen him just refer to himself, like on Twitter, as Diddy Dirty Money. Like he's the one person, but then it renders the ladies in the group nameless. Like he's Diddy Dirty Money and they're just hanging around. Anyway, the whole thing is just way confusing considering that he's trying to get you to know who he is so that if you're a fan of his, you will go buy the new album, which I actually hear is very good. I've heard like one or two, the first two singles off of it, I guess. It sounds like Diddy. So, but anyway, for a guy who's like marketing and branding is like his entire bit, the name on this thing, it's been weeks I've been like, so is he's like in a group now, or he like, there's a group of people and it's not him, or it's just him and he's just renamed himself, like, again, like, he used to be Puff Daddy and then he was Diddy and now he's Diddy Dirty Money, like, old dirty bastard turning into Big Baby Jesus or whatever. I don't know what the guy's thinking. I never know what the guy's thinking, but in this case as well, I don't know what the guy's thinking. Anyway, the main thing I wanted to review today is the web series Asylum, which now has 4 episodes. I believe there's going to be 6 total in the first season. I have seen the first 4 because I'm watching them straight through. They wouldn't send me a review copy, so I'm watching them straight through like everyone else, and I'm all caught up. I'm on the first 4. The first thing that you notice, obviously, about it is that it is incredibly super professional. Like, it looks, everybody always says when a web series looks good, that it looks like a TV show, as if that's the standard, and then web series are below that, and they're trying to reach that standard. So I don't want to say it looks like a TV show, because web series and TV shows at this point we should consider on equal footing. So it looks great. It looks very professional, and one thing that they did that I really like is there's a lot of attention being paid to contrast between, like, light and dark shots, like, contrast within the shots. Like, it's just really interesting. It gives it kind of a noir-y flavor. I really like how it's always, like, running up to each other, like a shot, like a scene in a garden in the middle of the day, and then the next scene is like a rooftop interview at night. And it's always planned, like when there's a revelation coming in the mystery, it's bright, and when the mystery's getting darker, it's darker. And then it's just very clever. Like the director Scott Brown just pays attention to little stuff like that. Also, while we're talking about the technical aspects of it, I mean, it's shot really well. The cinematography is great, but the score I want to call attention to too. Rotem Moav, I believe, if the credits are right. He wrote the score, which is great and really cinematic and builds tension even throughout the little episodes. They're only like 6-minute episodes, but even those episodes sort of crescendo, and you can follow it through the music, and it's really well done. I realize I haven't talked much about it yet. It is drama, sort of a mystery thriller drama set in a mental asylum. It's reminding me a lot of House in one way. Like every 2 episodes, it's broken up into sort of 2-episode chunks. And every 2 episodes, like the main mystery of what's going on in this asylum grows and builds. And then there's a 2-episode arc with like a specific patient. So this one patient is, and what's wrong with them and what the doctors are going to do. So those mini-stories are sort of like House, where a person with a really baffling mental disorder comes in and then the doctors sort of argue about it. And there's also The Kingdom, that old Lars von Trier mini-series that they made into a TV series in America. I think it's Sweden originally. And just, it's also set in a mental hospital, and it's also got this, like, there's something supernatural, there's some sort of mounting dread, and that's what's going on in this one, too. Episode 4, which I won't blow it here, but episode 4 ends with a big twist that is obviously taking this in some kind of supernatural, dimension and in some way, which is cool, and which you could sort of see coming, and they start hinting at in the beginning, and has actually been developing pretty well. And as for stuff that I don't have as much, I mean, that I have mostly praise for the show, and in terms of how it's building, I really want to see the last couple episodes. I want to see how they're going to sort of tie everything together, and it's compelling for something that you're seeing in 6-minute chunks on the internet. It really does a good job of grabbing you and wanting to keep going. Having said that, I do have a few little things I'm going to raise, little nits I'm going to pick. I do like the leads. Dingani Beza plays Patrick. And he's the new sort of deputy director of the hospital. He's a bit studied. It kind of reminds me of Broyles on Fringe. That same actor, Matthew, I forget that guy's name. He's also in Lost and some other stuff. But anyway, he and the guy who's in Asylum both have this, it's very studied. It's sort of like every time they're saying their lines, it's their second time saying their lines instead of their first time. Having said that, he's good, and he brings a lot of sort of gravitas to the scenario. It can seem a little silly, some of these scenarios, but he really, you can tell, is invested in them, and he makes you sort of take it a little more seriously. I don't love the other lead quite as much. Sophie King plays Suli, who is the already director of the mental asylum when he gets there, or she's a doctor there and has been sort of taking charge since other stuff I won't get into has gone on. But, she has a little bit too much self-awareness as, like, the villain. Like, we know from watching it as the viewer that she's kind of the villain of the piece. But she seems to know she's villainous, too. Like, most scenes end with her sort of, like, watching someone as they leave and then looking shifty-eyed, like she's scheming what she's going to do to that person next. And, I mean, I'm sure there may be a twist coming that's going to upend everything. It's that kind of show, and so she's going to end up being really heroic. But for now, it just feels a little over the top that she's so, like, mustache-twirling. She doesn't have a mustache, but mustache-twirlingly evil that it kind of takes a little bit away. You want to... She would think of herself as being a good guy, I think, in this scenario, not as the villain, and so it's weird to see her act that way. I think it's okay for a plot to sort of gradually develop and build, which is definitely what this is doing with the overarching story arc. I mean, there's been 4 episodes, and we're starting to get some information about what's going on, but it's a slow burn, and I like that. I just feel like as long as they're doing individual stories about patients as well, it would make more sense for those to move a bit more quickly. We don't get a lot of great closure. Maybe they're planning on bringing some of these patients back later, so they don't want to resolve the stories, but that's starting to feel to me a little like, I want to see what happens. I want to see an arc, beginning and end, and everything is just kind of ambiguous and up in the air, and everything seems to be moving at the same pace, which it's if you're going to have 2 sort of sets of plots going on at once, you would think one of them would be a little bit more speedy to give people that feeling of seeing things progress. Again, like I said, a lot of this is minor stuff that just as long as I'm talking about the show. The last thing I'll say is that sometimes the dialogue, like once an episode, the dialogue is really on the nose. Like they have to be on the lookout for those lines of dialogue that sort of jump out at you as being like, screenwritery. Like, the one that's in one of the episodes I just watched, 3 and 4, was, I think I can use their relationship for leverage. Like, people act that way. They may not verbalize that. They may not say stuff like that out loud. Anyway, it's just it's a little on the nose. Like I said, overall, I think this is an incredibly worthwhile effort. One of the more professional web shows. There's a certain kind of web show where you watch it and you just immediately feel like, okay, I'm still in the hands of professional, serious storytellers instead of like jokers who got their hands on a camera. And this is one of those shows. Compulsions, which I think some of the same people worked on, was also one of those shows where you watch it and right away you're like, oh, it's a real story and it's gonna have a beginning, middle, and end. I'm really gonna get somewhere at the end. And I think that's what people mean when they say it's like TV, like, oh, this was good, like a TV show. They mean it's like well done by people who know what the hell they're doing. So Asylum fits into that category. I definitely recommend it. Asylumseries.com, or just look up Asylum web show on the web, and I'll post links below as well. In fact, I'm going to look that up while I'm still doing the show to be 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it is asylumseries.com. Yes, asylumseries.com. I would feel stupid if I posted this and then that was totally wrong. Asylumseries.com. Go check it out. It's good, and it's a good thing to support this kind of professional, real work being done in the web series world. So that's the show for today. I would love to review more web shows. So if you make or work on or just like a web show a lot, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to do like one of these a week. That would be fun. So until next time, thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to me for, again, more than 9 minutes, because I can't learn to shut up, and I'll see you next time on Lons TV.